Welcome to Small Town Times. Today we have Jennifer Carroll, an actor here in town who's going to be involved with the five Dionnes. Welcome to the Blue Studio.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
There's new music in there and new characters, new perspectives to the story. I'm really excited. I loved the show as it was last year. Gerry, the director, and he helped develop the piece. He did a really good job of kind of capturing the spirit of the era. When we did the Dionnes last year, we had someone backstage and they were, clicking on a typewriter and ringing a bell and all that stuff. And it really brought the feeling of it being a live radio show with a live band and live sound effects kind of right in the Capitol Center. But what I'm really excited about is he and the writers have really expanded on the different perspectives of everyone who was affected. So a little bit more as to what the Dionnes' parents went through as they lost custody and their siblings. I mean, when the quintuplets were born, they already had 5 older siblings. So it went from a family of 5 kids to 10. It doubled overnight, right? Yeah. And so the perspective of the older siblings and how their lives changed, a little bit, more in depth of both the positive and negative impacts on the region. So, I loved the show last year, but this one, has even more and has more expansive perspective, which I think is important because it's a wonderful story, but like a complicated one. So it's nice to hear all the different sides. A real go back in time moment, I think, for people. And having the live band there, I think, was also a really effective way to kind of put people in a time and a place. Because that idea of, I think, like, musical radio theater with a live band, you could close your eyes and very easily imagine what it would feel like to be sitting in your living room and listening to it kind of pipe through. I felt transported kind of right back to the 1930s, it's
historical wormhole.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good way of putting it, actually. Yeah, I went down a historical wormhole and came out the other end, and we were in 1934. It was awesome. Yeah. So looking forward to that again. So it was really nice to kind of engage with the city and the local community about it in a way that was kind of fresh and new and did bring in so many people from so many different kind of arts practices. All the musicians were just incredible. It was a really nice, refreshing way to approach the story and to be able to share it in context with how it really affected and rebuilt North Bay as a city itself. I mean, I know it's a complicated story. I think there are probably multiple opinions, all of which probably have valid space as to, how young girls are treated and, this idea of all their agency taken away from them and their families. But I think it's also kind of undeniable that this city wouldn't be what it is today if they hadn't existed and really kind of built that road as a pipeline up for all the tourism. The play also does a really good job of not shying away from the fact that it's complicated, right? History is complicated. History is rarely black and white or one-sided or entirely fair. I think Gerry and the writers have done a really, really good job of finding kind of the fun and the beauty where they can. And then especially with this new show and kind of the expansion into some more kind of adjacent characters, not just the girls, talking about the complicated fallout inevitably of what happens. And so I think that's what interests me the most in this type of theater. The singing is fun and, the showmanship on stage is fun. But more than anything, I feel like being able to meet an audience where they are and be able to talk about something that maybe, people think they can have such polarizing opinions, but they can all come into the room together and kind of enjoy a story for what it is, even if the edges aren't all shiny,